In the far reaches of the Andromeda cluster, deep within the Galactic Tribunal's towering citadel, the trial of Earth's survival was in full session. Humanity stood on trial for crimes against the universal ecosystem, with their fate hanging in the balance. The interstellar courtroom was unlike any human had ever imagined. Towering, shifting walls of plasma, floating seats for alien dignitaries from countless star systems, and in the center, presiding over it all, the cold, impenetrable gaze of High Judge Altoran, a being whose skin shimmered like liquid mercury. Humans had sent their most eloquent representatives, scientists, and diplomats to plead their case, but it was proving futile. Every argument crumbled under the weight of intergalactic law, and every piece of evidence presented only deepened the tribunal's disdain for the species. Sitting among the delegation was a young girl named Lina, who had been brought along merely as a symbol, a gesture of innocence to sway the emotions of the alien court. Her wide eyes darted nervously around the grand chamber. She was just 12, a girl whose only real talent, up until now, had been playing piano and sneaking snacks when her parents weren't looking. As the proceedings dragged on, the weight of the atmosphere and the incomprehensible alien languages began to take their toll. Lina hadn't eaten in hours. Her stomach rumbled audibly in the silent hall, cutting through the monotonous drone of the courtroom translators. Several alien dignitaries turned their heads, their many eyes narrowing with confusion or curiosity. Without thinking, Lina stood up. Her voice, small but clear, rang out in the courtroom. "Excuse me, I'm really hungry." The entire room froze. Judge Altoran's shimmering eyes flickered for a moment, confused by this sudden breach of protocol. Silence fell across the galactic courtroom. The human delegation shifted nervously in their seats, horrified that a child had spoken during such a solemn proceeding. Judge Altoran leaned forward, his many arms folding in contemplation. "Hungry?" His voice echoed through the chamber, carrying the weight of centuries of interstellar law. "Human, you are here as a representative of a species accused of gluttony, of consuming resources beyond your planet's means, of bringing imbalance to the delicate fabric of the universe. And yet, you speak of your hunger? Explain this?" Lina blinked, unsure how to respond. She wasn't a diplomat, and she had no understanding of the complex charges against humanity. She only knew one thing. She was hungry. "Well, it's just that. I haven't eaten in a while," she said quietly. "And all of this talk is going on, but I haven't seen any food. We eat 3 times a day on Earth, at least. And sometimes we get snacks." Her innocent candor was disarming. The courtroom was silent, every being watching the exchange with rapt attention. The human diplomats sat frozen in horror. The judge tilted his head, considering her words. "Food," he mused. "Tell me, human child, why do you eat so often?" Lina blinked again, perplexed. "Because we get hungry? Our bodies need food to keep going. If we don't eat, we get tired, weak, and we can die." The judge's shimmering form quivered, as though absorbing her words in a way that transcended the courtroom's sterile logic. He glanced toward the other members of the tribunal, his countless eyes narrowing as if calculating something far beyond the comprehension of the humans present. "Bring forth sustenance," he commanded. A series of drones whizzed into action, retrieving a peculiar glowing orb, no larger than a marble, and placing it in front of Lina. The orb pulsed with a strange energy, its surface shimmering in the ethereal light of the courtroom. "Consume," the judge instructed, his voice even but filled with a strange intensity. Lina hesitated, glancing nervously at the human delegation, who stared back helplessly. There was no turning back now. She reached out, picking up the orb, and placed it into her mouth. Instantly, a surge of warmth and life flowed through her. It was like nothing she had ever tasted, rich, savory, sweet, bitter, all flavors at once. And it filled her completely, quenching not only her hunger, but something deeper inside her, as if the very molecules of her body were being nourished. Her eyes widened with surprise. The judge watched closely. "Do you feel satiated?" Lina nodded slowly. "Yes, that was amazing." Judge Altoran rose from his seat, towering over the entire courtroom. His voice boomed through the chamber, addressing not just Lina, but every representative present. This human child consumes to survive, not out of gluttony, but out of necessity. We, the tribunal, have assumed the hunger of their species to be one of greed. But we have misjudged. Perhaps it is not that humanity consumes because it wishes to destroy, but because it is bound by the limitations of its biology. The human diplomats stared in shock, unable to believe what they were hearing. The tribunal must reconsider the charges, the judge declared. Perhaps, instead of extinction, what humanity needs is guidance, a way to evolve beyond their physical hunger, beyond their dependency on consumption. Gasps echoed through the chamber. The verdict had shifted, and it was all because of a hungry girl's innocent words. Lina, oblivious to the monumental shift in galactic history unfolding around her, looked up at the judge and smiled. "Thank you. That was the best meal I've ever had." Judge Altoran regarded her with a strange expression, a mixture of curiosity and something that could almost be interpreted as understanding. "You may yet save your species, child," he said softly, before turning to the assembly of galactic representatives. "Let this be the first step toward humanity's redemption." And with that, the course of human history was altered forever, not by the speeches of politicians or the might of armies, but by the simple plea of a hungry girl who dared to ask for food in the most improbable of places.